same day I decided it's time that I reclaim back the pieces of my life. And if you don't like it, change it. If you can't find it, make it. The only thing holding you back is your own limitation. Why can't I be free from the ways of the world? Why can't I be who I am in my soul?
But everybody talk about my afro. They're like, yo, that hair. They're like, yo, her hair look horrible. Her hair look crazy. Oh, her makeup looks not matching her skin tone. Her pictures, ew. What's she wearing? Why her outfit look like that? Oh, her picture's not edited right. Her legs. It's like every time I turn around, it's something. Granted, some is hating on me for real. It's some that'll make sure you look a mess. Whoever that'll make sure you look away. Like, certain people don't want you to look outshine them. They be so mad when they see the Lord and they see God and they see what I am and who I am and what I do. I walk in the room and demand presence. Fuck, I can have a do-rag on. First of all, y'all must have forgot. I can have a do-rag on and demand presence.
Humans are constantly tussling with the chains of other people's opinions, expectations, and rules. It takes a bunch of metal to break that metal. We face constant pressure to fit inside a ridiculously tiny box of acceptable behavior and physical attractiveness. Out of fear, many of us go to great lengths to fit inside that small container, usually cutting off significant parts of ourselves so that we take up less space. Dr. Sarah Webb. What's up, everyone? It's Books and Looks TV. Today, I am going to discuss Scarlett. This video isn't to shame the rapper. I just want to bring light to sexual trauma, colorism, and beauty standards. Scarlett, whose real name is Sierra Lewis, is an American rapper who gained prominence in 2022 with her viral single, Glizzy Gobbler, on TikTok. She later signed to Epic Records in 2023 after releasing her breakout single, This Is New York. Scarlett was born in the Bronx, New York City. She developed an interest in music from a young age, initially writing poetry before exploring rapping. At the age of 12, she faced a tragic loss with the death of her mother in a hit-and-run accident.
Like, after losing my mom, I ain't really ever bounced back from it.
Gotcha.
Like, I still be going through my troubles, my trauma, and like my grieving. Feel me? And I don't even grieve the healthy way. That's a fact. But I still go through my stuff. People be like overcoming. I'm trying to overcome. I'm trying to be strong to make it. You feel me? Like, but like every day I just take it one day at a time and I just stay focused on what I know I want to do in my life and what I want to be in my life. And I just look at that. I look ahead of me and not behind me. You feel me? Because if you niggas be looking back, I always look back. But then it's just like, you ever heard that story in the Bible when God told them people not to look back, and then shorty looked back and then she got turned into salt or something like a stone?
Yeah, no, for sure.
I be grinding. Every time you look back, you slow down.
Yeah.
Feel me?
Yeah.
So you gotta keep going.
This event, along with other personal struggles, shaped her music and lyrics, often addressing themes of resilience, overcoming adversity, and self-empowerment. Lewis's stage name stems from a childhood incident when she received a scar on her lip after being punched by her brother.
A lot of people ask me, why do I go by the name Scarlett and why do I call myself Scarlett? I call myself Scarlett because I was attacked by my brother. He punched me in my lip because I didn't have money to give him. I was coming home from a football game and my aunt didn't let me in the house. So I started walking away and he came outside and he asked me if I had money. And I told him, I said, bro, I don't have no money. You see, I don't even have nowhere to go. Just lay off me, leave me be. He kept asking me and I told him no. And he got mad and he punched me. And he hit me so hard that I fell on the ground. My body was in the street. And he left me there. And I woke up with blood squirting everywhere. And I was screaming, help me, help me. And I was screaming, please, somebody help me. And it got so bad.
Instead of hiding or being ashamed of the scar, she embraced it as a symbol of her strength and resilience, incorporating it into her rap persona. In 2022, when her single went viral, she gained widespread attention and was propelled into the spotlight. The song's catchy lyrics and upbeat tempo resonated with audiences, making it a popular choice for dance challenges and trending videos. This track further cemented her position in the hip-hop scene and caught the attention of Epic Records, who again signed her. I think it's important to note that just like Ice Spice and Cardi B, whom are both mixed rappers, that Scarlett is also from the Bronx. And to me, she can rap better than both of them and has more stage presence. Yet it's obvious that colorism and featureism have a huge part in why, despite her talent, she isn't been able to stay authentic to herself. She's faced with more scrutiny than, to me, they were. Don't get me wrong, they have been faced with scrutiny, but they still have been pushed and given more opportunities than someone like Scarlett. And again, I know she's just starting off, but so is Ice Spice. So Scarlett has been constantly grinding on social media and in general, and to me, she has had to work twice as hard as a darker skinned woman. Scarlett basically has utilized social media again to make a name for herself. However, aside from that, again, is the trauma of Scarlett. She, to me, in her interviews, she has discussed, again, losing her mother at a young age, being also abused by another relative.
My name is Scarlett, and I was sexually abused at the age 12 by my aunt and her boyfriend. She would drug and rape me. She would drug my food, drug my drinks, so her boyfriend could do what he wanted to me. And it made me angry. It made me angry at myself. It made me angry at the world. It made me have my guard up. It made me not trust people because I said to myself, how could they do this to me? How could they do this to me? I'm supposed to be your niece. You took me in when my mom died, and then you take advantage of me because you know that I don't have nobody? Why would you do me like this? You ever had to say that to somebody? How could you do me this way? That's how I felt. I felt betrayed. I felt angry. And I wanted revenge. And she said to me, if I ever said something about it, you know where I was going? In the system.
And just talked about growing to love herself, which she's really been vulnerable about on social media. In general, I thought that Scarlett's story was very inspiring. However, I was also concerned about how vulnerable and naive and open her wounds were, especially in the entertainment industry. Her acknowledging specifically that she was a virgin in a room full of men just made me fear for her, because I know the industry is hungry, and I do think that they like to do rituals and just prey on young girls, to be frank. In fact, months ago, I also said publicly on my community tab that I worried Scarlett was a bit naive and she disclosed too much of her personal information in interviews. So I'm not that shocked that now she's being very sexualized. And also, it just seems like Scarlett is just changing for the worse. So I'm just going to give you some examples. So there's stories of Scarlett's stylists saying she has been mean towards them.
So I had did her makeup 2 days straight for the BET Awards, and she was problematic as fuck. So the very first day, the brand of makeup I had, she didn't care for. So the next day, I accommodated her and went and got the makeup brand that she liked, right? She was basically telling me how to do her makeup. She was like, use 3 pumps of this foundation, 2 pumps of this foundation, and so on and so on. Like, I'm steadily trying to tell her, like, this is not your shade. And she's like, do not go back and forth with me. I'm paying you to do my makeup how I want it to look like. She kept checking to see what I was using, making sure I wasn't using what she didn't want me to use. Like, it was too much. And then it came to a point where she would take the brush from me and do her makeup herself. Like, at this point, I'm like, why you just didn't do your makeup yourself? So I honestly felt during the time she was only acting like that because I felt she was anxious because it was the BET Awards. But let me tell you,
I didn't say I'm never f***ing you again. I'm not f***ing nobody. Why are you still here?
Why are you kicking me out like that, bro?
You leaving regardless. I'm not kicking you out.
Give me a hug.
Because I don't want to. You're crazy.
No.
You are.
You said leave and I left out. I'm crazy.
Okay, bye. Yo, this nigga is fucking crazy. Yo, y'all. I won't be surprised if that nigga come trying to burn my motherfucking door down. Let me tell y'all what happened, right? I'm mad because me and this nigga in the bed, this nigga going nut. Not even 2 minutes. Put like 2 strokes in, and the nigga going nut. So I'm pissed off. Like, why the fuck you playing with me? Then the nigga gonna fucking nut, and I'm just like, I'm done. I don't want to give me a hug if you love. He said, give me a hug if you love me. Why the fuck you gonna nut that fast? Like, I'm pissed off at you. You did bad, bro. You did not complete the mission. I'm pissed off. You wasted my time. Like, you feel what I'm saying? So I'm kicking him out. And he don't want to go. Hold on.
And just in general, she's often asking for strangers to validate her beauty, which I understand she isn't deemed as attractive to many, again, due to featureism, but also the scar on her lip. Yet, I just don't think the internet is a safe place, and seeking its approval is very dangerous and can lead to a whirlwind. And it seems like in her personal relationships or business relationships, you can see how people are responding. A lot of times, when people who are disempowered become empowered, whether it's like through monetary gains or fame, if they're not treated from their trauma, that they can lose sight and just sometimes become the bully that everybody was to them. And that's not to say that I know Scarlett personally, because I don't, but just based on these observations, a lot of people are saying she isn't a nice person, and it seems like she's really changing based on her online presence. So I just want to talk about some literature review of like the Black female body and just identity in hip hop. And so there's an author named Morali Bulaji, and in her analysis of economics and the politics of the Black female body, she states the following: long constructed in Western popular culture as wild and uninhibited, Black women and their sexuality have become consumable and profitable commodities in hip hop and R&B in recent years. Images of Black women in these domains have routinely depicted as sexual subjects, catering to the on-screen whims of Black male artists and the fantasies of white men. The production and consumption of Black women's sexuality within these music genres corresponds with historical construction of Black women as sexually deviant and available for their male counterparts' taking. More important, it is rooted within market considerations of otherness that argue, quote, regulate and integrate authentic difference. This dynamic, they explain, creates a spectacular consumption of quote unquote authentic Blackness as spectacle and commodity while reaffirming its otherness. Spectacular consumption is thus structured in a fashion different from traditional spectacle. Its rhetorics respond to cultural variables and diverse patterns oriented by the logic of sign value. On the one hand, the pleasure of consuming otherness is advanced by the other's uniqueness. On the other, in a mass consumer culture, commodity value rises to a sufficient level only when the other undergoes massive replication. In today's mainstream Black female artists are often for the male gaze. There's extreme sexual and vulgarity in lyrics. Though not all the men or even women appreciate this type of media, it is heavily pushed to program the minds of many, in my opinion. It is lustful and low vibrational to hear it constantly. It's literally flooding the airwaves and social media. I really keep my videos on mute a lot of times when I'm scrolling. And I say that to say, Black women, in my opinion, even Black men, but since I'm talking about Black women, stick to Black women, are just heavily sexualized and objectified. And it doesn't really show the human and, like unique abilities that we have. It's really important for us to pay attention to how media portrays us and how we also may internalize it. Sometimes when you see these type of tropes, it becomes very overwhelming. I want to talk about another author who talked about this idea of sexual scripts. And so sexual scripts are like culturally and socially constructed ways of interpreting and responding to sexual stimuli. They are learned patterns of feeling and responding within a sexual context that provide parameters of individual sexual behavior within a specific situation. These scripts are transmitted on both a cultural, for example, hip-hop media and Black-oriented reality shows. On a social level, may be experienced on intrapsychic and an interpersonal level. So basically, all of these things that we consume not only become like programming, but it's kind of like inescapable. So, recognizing the power of hip hop media and Black urban culture, Stevens and Phillips propose a sexual scripting model, providing a framework for hip hop's impact on the sexuality of young African American women. These scripts are consistent with existing frameworks in which African American women have historically been viewed and objectified in the United States society, but are distinguished from earlier work in their relationship to youth and media. The author argues that Stevens and Phillips scripts can be found in other representations of popular Black media beyond the original conception. If these scripts are consumed without critique, the limited and stereotypical characteristics of these scripts may have an overall negative impact on young Black women's sexuality. And now for my conclusion. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with embracing femininity, yet I just want to be serious. Scarlett is a tomboy, and what made her even stand out in the first place from other rappers is, of course, her look and just how she presented herself. She does have raw talent, and I think a lot of New York rappers had a similar style of being feminine, yet borderline tomboyish back in the day, or at least in the 90s when people cared about what you had to say more than how you looked. She has talent, but I do understand that colorism and futurism is tough now, especially with so many lighter skinned rappers being pushed to the forefront and just the industry being racist, to be honest. I feel like the Jezebel trope holds true to this day. Salaciously, I hope that Scarlett isn't responding to trauma through like becoming hypersexualized. I know she is a young woman with a disturbing childhood, and the industry is hell. I hope she doesn't lose herself. She is very talented and beautiful. I think we have to support artists through streams and purchasing their work, etc., in hopes that we move away from how someone looks in the industry. I also think ultimately how Scarlett choosing herself and staying grounded matters more than this think piece about her. What are your thoughts on this general topic and or Scarlett? Let me know down below, and thank you for listening to Books and Looks TV.